It's been just over a week since Season 2 of Marvel Rivals released and introduced the new Vanguard, Emma Frost. I know it's still very early into the season, but I feel like I have enough experience with all the Vanguards now to properly dissect where they're at this season, and make a tier list ranking how good they are compared to the other Vanguards. Now, this is my own personal opinion. There is no one objective ranking for these heroes, as people may think Venom, for example, isn't all that good, whilst others might think that he's actually a decent pick. With that being said, let's get into the tier list. Starting off with Hulk, this is the easiest S tier in my life. I don't know what's going on with Hulk this season, but if you're a strategist and you're constantly playing in the backline, 9 times out of 10 you will have this green giant squishing you like a bug in a matter of nanoseconds. Dive is such a good comp to be running this season, and no one does it better than Hulk because of his survivability and damage output. He can suppress all enemy healing in an instant if he decides to focus on the strategists more than anyone else because he's just that guy. Not only that, he recently got a team up with Namor or Namor, however you want to pronounce it, that makes Namor's turrets a hell of a lot more annoying. If you haven't played Hulk before, consider learning him because he's crazy strong right now. Captain America, probably a C tier, he's not the best. We're going pretty much right to the other end of the spectrum here. Cap, honestly, isn't an awful pick, but I feel like he's very situational because everyone else is performing a lot better than him at the minute. For example, if Hulk gets banned, you could probably just play Cap and take this slightly more passive brawl comp where you build ults and then go all in on a huge attack. He's very much the second Vanguard, helping the main Vanguard zone enemies for the DPS to push up against and properly secure the kill. That's why he's not F tier. He offers very little, but what he does offer can actually help flip the fight. Occasionally. Rarely. Well, Doctor Strange, it pains me to say this, but he's gonna have to be a C tier. Just look how they've massacred my boy. It really does pain me to say this, but Strange is just not very good this season. His damage output compared to the other Vanguards is pretty bad, and the only use he really has at the minute is his ult and portal. Mind you, his ult gets countered completely by most support ults, so it's kind of pointless farming his ult when you could just farm a different Vanguard's ult and get a lot more value out of it. It's unfortunate because he was genuinely a great pick last season and even in Season 0, but he's been nerfed into the ground and made almost unplayable. Groot, I think probably B tier. I think Groot is once again a very situational Vanguard, but his damage output is really good and he works well in a dive comp because he can wall off enemies. Meaning the main Vanguard can get a couple more picks because they don't have to worry about the enemy team running away since Groot's walling them off. His ult is pretty good too because it's another CC ult that stuns anyone affected by it, which allows the rest of the team to follow up and get some very easy picks. He's another one of those utility Vanguards, being there purely to help the main Vanguard steamroll the enemy backline by zoning them. But he does it in such an effective way that justifies him being ranked in at least B tier. Magneto, I'm gonna put him A tier, but he has potential to move up into S tier. I think Mag has generally been a pretty good pick since the game came out, but now that Dive is such a dominant comp, he's one of those Vanguards that you play to make the Dive comp 10 times better because he offers survivability in it. For example, whilst Hulk can bubble himself to keep himself alive for just that little bit longer, Mag offers that second bubble that keeps him alive for even longer, making it easier for the strategists to come back from spawn and feed their healing into him. This is all without mentioning his damage output. He's very strong and offers that perfect amount of follow-up damage to secure the kills that heroes like Hulk can't quite get at a range. If you've ever played 6v6 Overwatch, it's pretty much the Doomfist Zarya comp. Penny, she's probably a B tier as well. Penny is a weird one because she's the literal definition of a tank in the context of hero shooters. She can take a bunch of damage and stall points because of this with her nest, since it heals her. But once that's destroyed, she just kind of falls over. Her damage output isn't exactly the worst, especially when you take mines into consideration, because holy shit, those things do pack a punch. But it's very easily out-healed by the enemy strategists, so she's just kind of forced to focus those before anybody else on the enemy team. She's just perfectly mid. She's super accessible to the newer players, which is great for them, but outside of ranks like Gold, you might as well just swap her out for a more effective Vanguard. Thor, he's our second S tier. Honestly, he's just insane this season. Pretty much everything I said about Hulk you can apply to Thor because he's an absolute menace in the dive comp. His survivability and damage output allow him to go in, destroy the enemy backline, and get out practically unharmed if his strategists are pumping healing into him. His ult is really good at crowd control too, allowing him to not only zone the enemy team and force them to play where he wants them to, but get multiple picks if the enemy team don't have anything to counter him. If I get on a team that insta-lock both Hulk and Thor, I just know I'm in for a good game. I will probably win. Venom, I honestly think he's an A tier. I think Venom is just a slightly weaker Thor with more range, but there honestly isn't that much of a difference between them. If Hulk or Thor get banned, 9 times out of 10 it's generally best to play Venom because he offers the same kind of stuff that these two do. His ult is another good CC ult that offers self-survivability because he gets that extra health from anyone that he hits with it, plus he has that shield ability that lets him stay in the fight for just a little while longer. He's not a terrible pick, but he's just kind of benched whilst Hulk and Thor take the limelight. Thing, he's another one of those A tiers. Here's the thing. Okay, I'm sorry, that joke isn't funny anymore. Okay, for real. The Thing is a very good pick in a brawl comp, especially if you're on a team that has Invisible Woman, because that team up is still broken, and it offers him a hell of a lot more survivability than he already has. His damage output is stupid, especially his wound up punch, and he has some really good combos that just evaporate squishier enemies. Pair him with someone like Emma and they're practically unstoppable, bouncing off of one another in this super aggressive brawl comp. The only problem is, Dive is the more dominant comp. Now for the new hero, Emma Frost. I think she's an A tier. Emma is super strong at the minute, but I still think Dive is generally a lot more dominant, and therefore she kinda doesn't offer all that much because she's a brawl hero. As I mentioned before, she works pretty well with the Thing because they bounce off one another and have both got insane combos, but you have to play this aggressive brawl comp to see any value come out of her. You can't really play her in any other comp. Mind you, her ult is easily one of the most broken ults in the game. There's no doubt about that. There is just no debate to be had. She's good, but kind of situational, which is honestly fine and matters a lot less than you might think. But that just about does it for this video. Now, again, this is my own personal opinion, so you might disagree with some of the rankings. As it stands, I think these Dive Vanguards are the best at the minute because that comp is just stupidly strong right now. We might see it nerfed slightly in the upcoming weeks, ultimately changing the meta, but for now, you should definitely be playing heroes like Hulk and Thor. Maybe throw in Venom here and there. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm gonna ask you to subscribe and leave a like on this video as it lets me know that you've enjoyed it and want to see more. Feel free to voice your opinions in the comments as usual, because I love reading and interacting with what you guys think about these things. It's how we grow this community, through discussion. Finally, have a nice day or night if you're watching this at night, and make sure you check out some of my other videos. Not only will I appreciate it, but you might too.